Illinois basketball is hosting some big-time visitors this weekend. Who are they? I'll let you know.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome all to another edition of Locked On Illini. Thank you all so much for making us your first listen each and every day. This episode is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is it's only the beginning. Stay tuned later for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. Mazda, move and be moved. My name is Sonny Verma, your host here at Locked On, where I continue to provide you coverage daily, even when I'm not feeling too well. I'm not sure if you can tell, my eyes are a little pink and I sound a little under the weather, so I'm going to try to do my best to power through this, all because I know you guys are watching, and the likes that you give to this channel and our subscriber base continue to grow both on YouTube and audio. I did want to give you all a special shout out for that. Today's episode, I wanted to talk about the big recruiting weekend that we're going to have. I'll talk about I'll preview the Western Michigan game in the second segment, but Illinois is going to be hosting some pretty big-time names this weekend. Brad Underwood obviously has 2 recruits down for this recruiting class, but I wanted to talk about some guys who might get the fan base, let's just say, a little bit more excited when it comes to what the 2026 class is going to look like. I'm going to talk about 3 important names on this particular show, and that's 5-star wing Cameron Holmes, the international big man Sinan Huan, who I discussed on yesterday's show, and of course, rising in-state talent, 2027 guard Jaxon Davis. I think this is one of those weekends where I don't expect it to be too exciting short-term, but it absolutely can lead to big things long-term. And so let's start with the big picture. Illinois has had success on the trail, but we've also seen some close calls and some near misses when it comes to recruiting recently. And this weekend isn't about chasing those instant wins. It's about building genuine relationships and showing families what Illinois is all about and proving that this program belongs in the conversation with the nation's best. When you host a 5-star like Holmes, an international talent like Hanan, and a homegrown guy like Davis, you're just kind of making a statement to everybody. It says Illinois is casting a wide net, local, national, and even global. Underwood and his staff have shown that they're willing to battle the Blue Bloods, and the visits this weekend are an opportunity to show that Illinois is serious about being a long-term player in some of these big-time recruitments. First, we'll talk about Cameron Holmes, and again, if you want a more in-depth scouting report on Holmes or any of these players, I've done scouting reports on all of them in previous episodes. But back to Cameron. He's the younger brother of Deron Holmes, who starred at Dayton and was just a first-round NBA draft pick. Cameron is a 6'6", 5-star wing from Arizona, ranked top 25 nationally in the class of 2026. And what makes him special is his 3-level scoring. He can slash to the rim. He can pull up in the mid-range, and he can hit threes off the dribble or off the catch. He's very patient, and I really liked his IQ. And I think that he's the type of player that even at his height, he can be a secondary playmaker, which can thrive in Brad Underwood's offense. On the defensive side, his length gives him versatility to guard multiple positions. He's not an elite lockdown defender yet, but the tools look like they might be there. Recruitment-wise, this one is going to be a grind. His official visit tour is locked. Illinois is this weekend. Then he's got North Carolina the following weekend, Oklahoma, Texas, Gonzaga, and Arizona. Now, the kid is from Arizona, and the buzz is the strongest with Arizona right now. But I do think that Illinois is kind of in the mix at the very least. And that's why this weekend is so huge. Even if Holmes doesn't make a decision until the spring, showing him how he'd fit in Champaign. Immediate minutes. You're talking a style that highlights wings and a path to the NBA. Hopefully, that sort of message can stick to him when he compares the different campuses. Statistically, Holmes put up around 12 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 2.5 assists on the EYBL circuit, shooting nearly 47% from the field. That's highly efficient against highly elite competition. Add in his 1.5 steals per game, and you see the versatility that Brad Underwood likes. Bottom line is Holmes is the type of player who could headline the recruiting class of a program like Illinois. Next, let's talk Sinan Huan. This is, again, one of the more intriguing names in the 2026 class. He's a 7-footer, originally from China, now playing in Georgetown Prep in DC. He's got size, strength, and elite. And I said this on yesterday's episode where I did a little more in-depth scouting report. I mean it, elite rim protection. We're talking about a guy who blocked 8 shots in a single FIBA under-19 World Cup game against Canada, 6 of them in one half. Again, his blocking is absolutely a dominating trait. Defensively, he's already pretty elite. He alters shots, he deters drives, and controls the glass. On offense, he's a little bit more traditional right now. Putbacks, lobs, screen and roll finishes, but the foundation looks like it could be there. At 225 pounds, he's not just tall, but he's got the right sort of frame to eventually bang inside and anchor a defense. And that's where I do think that meeting with someone like Adam Fletcher is going to be huge. I think Huan, paired up with Adam Fletcher, could raise his ceiling to one-day play professional basketball. Recruitment-wise, Illinois is right in the thick of it. He's already visited Purdue. He's visiting Illinois this weekend. I believe he's got a visit lined up with Northwestern at some point, but then he's also been talking to Alabama, Creighton, Florida, Mississippi State, amongst others. His international experience makes him even more appealing in today's global game. And if you've followed Illinois and Brad Underwood recently, you know that Brad Underwood and Illinois have tapped in to the international aspect of recruiting. And who knows, maybe, guys like the Avicic brothers, David Merkovich, they can be proof to a guy like Huan that Illinois is building a reputation as a destination for overseas talent. And Huan would fit that mold as a defensive anchor, something that's hard to find at any level. And here's the key. In the Big Ten, we always value big men. And landing someone with Huan's rim protection could be the type of defensive game plan changer moving forward. I know a lot of Illini fans aren't necessarily satisfied with how our defensive play has shown the last couple of seasons. A guy like Huan being the anchor of a defense could change that outlook moving forward. I also wanted to talk about Jaxon Davis, a 2027 guard from Warren Township in Gurnee, Illinois. He's still early in his high school career, but he seems to be recently turning heads as maybe a top 10 prospect in his class, at least in the state, sorry. What jumps out about Davis seems to be his maturity. Davis plays like an old school point guard, very high IQ, unselfish, sets up teammates, but also knows when it's time to go ahead and take over. As a freshman, he averaged nearly 20 points, 5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and 3.5 steals per game. On the EYBL circuit, he was just as good with over 13 points, nearly 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and shooting 44% from 3. You're talking about, again, just like Cameron, a very efficient player, especially for his age. Recruitment-wise, Illinois has certainly prioritized him. He's got offers from Indiana, Purdue, Northwestern, DePaul, Marquette, amongst others, but I think Illinois getting early on this, they might be considered a favorite here. The key here is showing him that the best in-state talent doesn't need to leave. Brad Underwood has done well with local recruits, and Davis could be the next big name to stay home and maybe lead the Illini into the late 2020s. So talking about this weekend, what's the takeaway? Again, I don't expect any of these guys to commit on the spot this weekend. That's not necessarily how modern recruiting works anyway, especially with the 5 stars and top tier international talents. But this weekend is about planting seeds. It's about families leaving Champaign and saying, wow, Illinois is different. Illinois did feel like home. Illinois absolutely is amongst the big dogs. Holmes is a potential NBA caliber wing. Huan is a defensive game changer, and Davis is a hometown leader for the future. If Illinois can leave lasting impressions on all 3, then this weekend will be remembered as one that could be very meaningful for the Illini basketball future. So Illini fans should be ready. Obviously, they're going to be at the Western Michigan game on Saturday. If you see them, hype them up, let them know how amazing this campus is and why they should be Illini, because again, I don't expect this to be a commitment weekend, but it absolutely is a relationship weekend, the kind of weekend that can set up commitments down the road. Illinois, we know, is hosting elite talent from coast to coast right here in the backyard. Ultimately, we'll see where things go, but the fact that Illinois is hosting some of these elite players in Champaign shows you that they're at least in the fight, and that's kind of all you ask. That's where you want to be. Let me know of the three prospects, which ones you like best. I'm actually very curious to hear. Let me know in the comment section. This episode is brought to you by Mazda's Moving the Game Forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the boards. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. This week's moment that moved the game forward is the halftime of that Duke game, when all of us were not very optimistic. Brett Bielema, Barry Lundy Jr., Aaron Henry, they went into that locker room and they changed the things that they needed to change, and Illinois ended up outscoring Duke 31-6 in that second half, giving more confidence to Illini fans moving forward that we have the right guys in charge. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. And welcome back. The Illini will face off against the Western Michigan Broncos in Week 3 on Saturday. Western Michigan is currently 0-2. They lost in Week 1, 23-6 to fellow Big Ten team Michigan State Spartans. And last week, they lost in overtime to North Texas, 33-30. Now, Illinois is a very strong favorite in this game. I believe it was 27.5 the last time I checked. So Las Vegas does not think that this is going to be too tough of a matchup for Illinois. And normally this is where I give off the disclaimer, like, hey, of course, let's not go easy on them. Let's make sure that we give them our full attention, and we don't want to get surprised. But things are different nowadays, folks. With Brett Bielema and this coaching staff, if you listen to them this past week in their press conferences, and if you didn't, I recapped it in a segment, I believe it was on Wednesday. Well, I don't think that the staff is going to be overlooking Western Michigan in any sort of matter. But I will mention that if it matters to you, I'm not going to scout Western Michigan too much, but I did submit my official prediction to On3. Yeah, your boy here, he's working with On3 now. Remember to follow Talk Illini both on YouTube and social medias. That show should be launching very, very soon. But I submitted a score prediction of 41-10. Illinois winning, covering the spread, hopefully going 3-0 against the spread this particular week. But again, this is not a game that I need to necessarily concentrate on the X's and O's as much, but kind of what I want to see on Saturday. And of course, we'll discuss it in the post game, which I do live after each and every football game and basketball game. So again, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. First and foremost, the most important thing I need to see is some sort of improvement from this offensive line. That Week 4 showdown with Indiana at this point is looming. And if you're not worried about it, then there's something wrong with you. Indiana Hoosiers, while they may not be as strong as they were last year, they might be. We don't really know yet because they're playing the Sisters of the Poor. Well, we do know that they are a good football team. And they've got this game circled on their calendars as well. Illinois had an actual challenge in front of on their path in playing a team like Duke. Indiana has been able to play with 15% of their playbook for their first 3 games, knowing that they were going to win, and basically just gear up and be ready for their Week 4 matchup against Illinois. Illinois hasn't had that luxury. So the tape is out there on Illinois, and the tape about their offensive line struggles is out there. And you don't think that Kurt Signetti and that coaching staff is going to game plan around attacking Luke Altmaier and finding different ways to attack and make sure our running game doesn't work? Look, we didn't look very promising against Western Illinois, a team that Illinois quite honestly should have rolled over. I mean, scoreboard-wise, they did. 52-3 was the score of that game. But One of my biggest takeaways from that game was how poorly the right side of the offensive line was playing. And I'm not just talking about just playing, but they also got unnecessary penalties. We need to clean all that stuff up. And that's why I've got my eye on that first and foremost on Saturday. I want the offensive line to play together. I don't want to see them give up penalty yards for no reason, because while you'll be able to get away with it against Western Illinois, while you can get away with it against Western Michigan and not worry about the final score, you cannot get away with that against Indiana. You cannot give up those free yards against a team like USC, who you're going to be playing very soon. So week 3, you've had enough time playing now. You're practicing enough now. It's time to clean all of that up. So first and foremost, I need to see the penalties go down, and I need to see the offensive line working together as a unit and create running holes for our running backs. Speaking of which, I also want to just see a superstar game from one of our running backs. We don't know what's going to happen with Aiden Lawfrey. Brett Bielema wasn't very clear about whether he was going to suit up on Saturday or not. Again, I'll offer my 2 cents that are worth even less than that. If I'm Brett, I just sit Aiden. We need a guy like Aiden Lawfrey against Indiana. We do not need him against a team like Western Michigan. Let Khalil run. Let Caden go at it. But at the same time, I don't want to feel the same frustrations in the first and second quarters with Caden that I have the last 2 games, and pretty much a lot of last season too. We know that if he gets his carries, ultimately he's going to get his yards. He should be able to get his yards and run over a MAC school like Western Michigan. And I know back in the day, Western Michigan was a pretty strong football program. Right now, quite honestly, they're not. And I'm saying that very respectfully. Every program has their ups and downs. Western Michigan right now is in their down period. So this is a team that Illinois should be able to clear out. But also, I just want to see not only the offensive line work, but I want to see the running back room, somebody just jump out at you and make you feel like you have a running game that you can go to against Indiana the following week, because you don't want to put all the pressure on Luke Altmaier. Because Luke, while he's one of the few quarterbacks in the country that I think you can absolutely trust to make plays happen under pressure, if you have dual threats, if you have a running game and a passing game together, I just think that makes your offense a lot more intimidating, and it gives the defenses who are scouting you a lot more things that they have to waste time game planning for. So for me, the first 2 things I absolutely want to see on the offensive side is the offensive cohesion, offensive line cohesion, stop committing stupid penalties, and the running back room. I don't think necessarily, like I kind of have a feeling, and you let me know in the comment section if you agree, that Brett Bielema and the coaching staff is they're willing to see if Luke Altmaier can have a really hot start when it comes to touchdowns and see if he can break some of the Illinois records. So I still think that Luke is going to absolutely be involved in that offense, in particular in the red zone. I do think that they're going to give Luke the opportunity to score some touchdowns. But when it comes to, if let's see one of the running backs get 100 yards, or maybe both of them get over 70. Just some semblance of a running game where you're when the final whistle blows, you look at it and you're like, all right, you know what? They did a job well done. And they're now going to give Indiana something else to focus on. As for the defensive side, first off, let's find out if Dylan Rosiak is going to be playing or not. Again, Brett Bielema wasn't exactly very clear. All he kind of hinted at is that it wasn't going to be a long-term injury, but I really like the way the guys like Malachi Hood stepped up in Dylan's absence last week, and I necessarily wouldn't be all that sad if Malachi got some more game time just to get him ready for this upcoming Big Ten season. So whether Dylan's in, that'd be great. Of course, that means one of our best linebackers and one of our defensive players overall is healthy and is 100%, or whether he sits for another day. I think there's still some positive to take out of that, saying some of these young guys can get some more playing time. I know a lot of you have concerns about the defensive backs and the cornerbacks and how you guys think that maybe they left some holes in the first 2 games. I don't necessarily agree with it, but it's certainly something that I'm going to be keeping a closer eye on against Western Michigan to see if the cracks are still there that you guys are seeing. So, of course, because, again, Western Michigan wide receivers are one thing. Those Indiana Hoosiers one is completely different, especially when you're going to go up against a quarterback like Mendoza in Bloomington. So you're going to have to shore that defensive back room up, and we'll see if Brett Bielema and Aaron Henry can get it done. You let me know what your keys to the game are on Saturday, and let me know your final score predictions. I want to hear in the comment section. If you're trying to stay on top of your routine, whether that's workouts, long days on campus, or staying focused through back-to-back classes, hydration is where it all starts, and that's where Drip Drop comes in. Drip Drop is a doctor-developed and scientifically proven for fast hydration. It uses the perfect balance of sodium, electrolytes, and glucose to help your body absorb fluids quickly, delivering 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of a leading sports drink. I've tried a lot of electrolyte powders, but nothing tastes as good or works as fast as Drip Drop. I always keep a few packets in my backpack. It saved me more than once from that midday crash. Right now, Drip Drop is offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first order. Just head to dripdrop.com and use promo code LOCKEDONCollege. That's dripdrop.com, promo code Locked On College for 20% off. Stock up now before the heat hits hard. It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who's Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it matters most. Let's break it down. For the Illini this week, again, I'm going to cheat a little bit and say Larry Geese and the Geese family for their amazing $100 million donation to the University of Illinois Athletics. It's going to be a huge day in Illinois sports, arguably the biggest day in history. This donation could be transformative, and I can't wait to deep dive about that in the future. So this particular week, I'm going to say the Geese family, thank you all so much. And just like the Geese family delivered for the Illini, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through 11/18. And welcome back. If you haven't already, make sure you've hit the like button on this particular video, at least if you've enjoyed the content. If you haven't, just let me know why. I'm always trying to make things around here a little bit better. And, you guys, my everydayers in here who stick around for the third segment know that I do this every single day. And I'm able to do that because of the support of the channel that I get from you guys. I'm really excited about other projects moving forward. I wanted to wrap things up by giving some good news. Isaiah Williams has signed a contract with the New York Jets. I think that's good news. It's a good news that he gets to sign on with another NFL team. The fact that it's the New York Jets, I don't know if that's all that promising. Of course, I'm just kidding. Okay, any NFL contract is a good one, and hopefully Isaiah Williams will be able to find a bigger role with the Jets and kind of be able to stick around a little bit. Obviously, Isaiah's already played with the Detroit Lions and the Cincinnati Bengals, and now this is going to be his third stop with the Jets, so best of luck to Isaiah Williams. Also wanted to mention that the Illinois social media team is at it again, and they've just dropped the new videos on Mihailo Petrovic, who is obviously now on campus, and he's practicing with the teams. And again, my everydayers in here know how high I am on Mihailo. One of my bold predictions this year is that he's going to lead the Big Ten in assists. I think he's got potential to be all Big Ten, and that says a lot because if you take a look at the point guards in the Big Ten Conference this upcoming season, well, there's plenty, and there's a lot of talent there, and I'm not trying to disrespect them. I'm just trying to get this audience hyped about how good Mihailo could be. I genuinely do think that his ceiling is the best player on this basketball team, and the fact that he committed during the weekend that everyone was focused on Stojakovic may have him a little bit overlooked. But definitely watch the tape. You see him with a nice no-look under the legs pass to Tomislav. You see him with a step-back three-pointer. Again, you just get a glimpse of what his game is like. I know people in the past have kind of gotten tired of me talking about Petrovic without showing tape. I just don't know which tape I'm allowed to show without getting a copyright strike. So you can actually watch tape Again, it's only about 15, 20 seconds worth, but just find the Illini men's basketball social team online, and you can watch those tapes for yourself. Friendly reminder, after the game against Western Michigan on Saturday, I believe it's like a late kickoff, 6:30. So you're talking about right after the game, late at night. Of course, yours truly will be going live immediately after the game right here on this channel right here. So again, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And you know what? Hit that notification button so you never miss the second I go live. I go live as soon as that final whistle blows. I get the graphics ready during the game. And, I will say, once again, if there's no more fun place to be. If you're not going to be in Geese Memorial Stadium, I got to get used to saying that, Geese Memorial Stadium on Saturday, and if you're watching the game at home or at a bar, join our Discord. Our Game Day channel is a lot of fun, and there's a lot of back and forth going on as we all kind of talk play-by-play live commentary with 300 of your closest Illini fans all across the country. So definitely join us there. It's another big moment on Locked On. College football fans, Locked On and Fire TV present College Football Kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leads the conversation alongside two-time AP Coach of the Year, Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On's local experts. A college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch College Football Kickoff every Thursday through the season, only on Fire TV. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of Locked On. Thank you all so much for joining me. I will see you after the game against Western Michigan. Until then, ILL. Love you guys.